Here to tell us all about prefab homes is real estate expert Rizwan Malik. Hello, Rizwan.
Hello, hello.
I don't know much about this topic, so I'm excited to talk about it. Let's start off by explaining what exactly a prefab home is.
Perfect. Well, Tracy, I'm sure you've heard of bed in a bag.
Yeah.
Well, this is basically home on a skid or on the back of a truck.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've been driving down the highway and you see this huge, 18-wheeler with like a pre-constructed home on it.
Yes.
It's essentially that. Okay. So, an entire property or entire home is basically built off-site at in a factory, and then it's basically delivered to a site where you're doing your construction.
Yeah.
And that's it.
It's like Lego.
Yes, it's prefab, short for prefabricated.
Prefabricated.
Yes.
Okay, what are the benefits of a prefab home versus a new construction site or an existing home even? Like, what would be the benefits?
So one of the biggest things is it's plug and play. So once you go in and you decide the size, the scale, all the different criteria that's important to you and your family, you order this beautiful home for yourself, and it's like a game of Lego. It's delivered, and then you assemble it, you bolt it together, and everything is done. Right down to the walls, the shingles, the windows, the toilets are bolted in, the walls are painted. It's the chandelier is already hanging over the kitchen island if you choose to have one.
Yes.
So it's extremely efficient.
Okay, very good. So everything's done. Is there anything else that is good about it? Like, is it better for the environment?
It's great. Yeah.
Is it quicker?
Well, it's definitely quicker, but so they do take sustainability and they do take efficiency into consideration. So if you think about it, when you're building a custom-built home or any traditional home, you always order excess material because you don't want to run out.
Right.
Because then there's that whole supply chain issue, and post-COVID, it's a lot worse than what it ever was before.
Yeah.
So, but if you and I are building prefab homes and we happen to choose the same color shingle, for example, now the manufacturer in their factory finishes my roof, and then whatever's left over, they start your roof with that, so there's less waste.
Okay.
Right? So it's very efficient. It's an efficient process.
I imagine for every pro, there's also a con. Like, there's some things you need to think about. What would be some of the disadvantages of going prefab?
One of the biggest things, think about it, like with a prefab home, it needs to sit somewhere. So all across Canada, there are areas where you probably have access to land, or you can acquire land at a discounted rate, or not so crazy expensive. Maybe it's a cottage area. In cottage country, you buy and you put a prefab cottage there. Yeah. In larger metropolitan cities, such as, Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, prefab homes are kind of being now reserved for laneway homes.
Right.
Because in the city proper, you need to take something down to put something back up.
Yes. Okay. So it's just finding the space.
Finding the space, finding the land, or the acquisition of land.
Right.
The other thing, also, no basements.
No basement, right.
So if you have an existing basement, you can put a prefab home on top of that, sure.
Okay.
Or if you really want one, you can have one dug out, finished, and then put a prefab home on top. But typically, they sit on top of like a 2 or 3 foot crawl space.
Okay, got it. So you have to buy the lot in order to have the prefab home put on the lot, or basically take down your an existing home, and put this on top. Yeah. What is the typical timeline, like from start to finish, when you're ordering a prefab?
Depending on who you go with, and it can change, but it's actually pretty quick. So sometimes these homes are ready for delivery before you even get the city to approve your permits.
Wow.
Which is crazy. So start to finish, maybe 12 to 16 weeks for delivery.
Yeah.
And like I said, when they show up, the home is basically bolted, and it's not going to fly away.
Well, that was going to be my next question.
Oh, I could see it.
Like, if they built this house in like 12 weeks and they bring it to your lot and bolt it down, it's like, is the wind going to take it away?
Yeah, they'll attach a few bungee cords and just stake it to the ground. No, it's sitting on top of, like I said, a crawl space. It's anchored in. It's not going anywhere.
It's built to last.
Built to last. It will stand the test of time. It'll brave the elements.
Okay. Now, all this sounds amazing, but I want to talk about price. So are you spending less money if you're getting a prefab versus an existing home or building a home from
scratch? No, great question. So pre-pandemic, again, you could have probably gotten away with like $250 to $300 per square foot.
Okay.
Which, again, if you're building a 1,000 square foot bungalow or a 1,000 square foot home, that's about 250,000 to 300,000.
Yep.
These prefab homes at that size for a bungalow start at about 170,000. So it's a fraction. It's almost half the cost, because today In this world,
Yes.
post-pandemic, you're lucky to get away with like $400 a square foot.
Right. So,
Right?
and $400 a square foot would be what?
Like $400,000 for that same home that you can now have for about
400,000.
$170,000.
Yeah. No, I mean, try and find a home even for $500,000 now.
Oh, it does.
Where are
doesn't
you
exist.
going? It's
Yeah.
like $1 million, $1.5 million, $2 million in a big metropolis like Vancouver, Montreal, Toronto.
But again,
so that's
that's also
amazing.
property and home. So we're just talking about home right now. So you
Just
need
the
to have
prefab home. You still have to buy a lot.
Yes, yes, you
and
have to
which
have-
costs what it costs.
Exactly.
Okay, very good. Thank you for shedding more light on this because I did not know a lot about prefab homes.